Yes, first of all, 1,000 pardons, I was late. And I apologize specifically to the good gentleman to my right, the county executive. Both of these schnorrers, yes, I'm even guys, have been late on more than one occasion. So I don't owe either Brodsky or Carter any apologies. Mr. Vanderhoff, I am sorry to throw it to you. Coming back from the city, yes. All right. You guys are very good, though. All right, let's get to some New York stories, and let's start with the state budget here. Governor Cuomo, he got it done on time, but many are asking if he capitulated too much to meet that deadline. Now, as we told you yesterday, the plan, these are some of the things it doesn't include. The DREAM Act, minimum wage hike, property tax rebates, or an education tax credit. All issues, Richard, that the governor said were very important to him, but they weren't in there. Regular horse trading here, or just to say that he got the budget on time, he gave in on stuff that he said were signature issues to him?
Both. Governors tend to do this. What made this different is that this year he wove those into the budget in ways that made it impossible for the legislature to take them out if he had insisted. It wasn't as though he just made a proposal and then walked back from it. That happens all the time.
Yep.
It was that he went forward with this hugely aggressive.
But this is the part I didn't get. I agree with everything you just said. But if he kind of, put those poison pills there in the first place, and he was going to threaten to go to the wall anyway on ethics, for example, why did he back off on this stuff? I didn't understand the play.
I think he overplayed his hand. He had to walk back. He's trying to make it look like he's just a regular governor negotiating, which would be a good thing. The problem was he started this process. He boxed himself.
Yep.
And he got out of it by walking it back, which in horse trading, in the legislative process, in lawmaking, you make trades, you walk things back, you don't get everything you want. The problem was here, he went out there with a bugle and a charge, and we'll get those no good nicks, and then he said, never mind, and I think that hurt him.
Am I reading too much, Dominic, to say that this could be the beginning of a different relationship with this governor and the legislature? Democrats are ticked because, the governor, they thought, pushed him way too far and threw him under a bus in certain instances. Republicans who've done dealing with him in the past, they also feel, that on more than a few occasions, that the governor hasn't given him any rope here. I'm not comparing this to across the river in Jersey, but are we looking at a different relationship than a year ago?
Maybe. I agree. And the argument comes down to answer your question, Richard, the numbers. Are they really willing to stand up to the governor? And I like what Richard said in terms of horse trading. And see, we don't know. We know, no offense, that the governor put lip service on a lot of these issues, DREAM Act, and so on and so on. But was it real? A lot of times in the posturing of government, an official will put something out there, as you well know, with no real intention to get it. It's just to give the opposite party something to say that they won in the budget battle. I think priority number one for this governor, as I said last night, was on-time budget at the expense of everything else.
Well, you've had to do budgets, obviously, every fiscal year at the county level. What did you always view more important? What was in the budget or getting the thing passed before the clock struck 12?
Well, it always got passed before our deadline, so that wasn't a concern. And yes, I wanted what was in there, but my take, this is purely a press issue. He wanted the press for every new issue of the day. So it was education because of his run for governor, and then he had the Shelley Silver thing, so it became ethics. So he would add these things as absolute demands, and I don't think he ever figured he'd get them all. Part of it is the back give and take, but he did this to get the headlines. No one will remember. No one remembers about. He got a little bit on ethics, but not very much compared from what we know.
Yeah.
I think it was done for the headlines, and he did good. He got a big headlines that are all across the papers.
Mm-hmm. I can get the next one, but I'll just say I've seen him throw out other issues where he had no intention of following up, just to see how it would blow. These ones I really thought he wanted.
Why did he tie it into the
That's
budget?
what I'm saying. To me, I'm surprised he didn't fight harder for these.
When he used his powers, and they're lousy powers. It's not good for the people, so that the legislature can't amend. And he got himself into trouble. He walked back.
Yeah, he did. And he's not going to get them done.
You've covered the governor. You've worked in the legislature with the governor. You've dealt with the governor as well here. And there's a book out, The Contender, obviously about Andrew Cuomo. It's now on store shelves. And by the way, I'm going to be interviewing the author this week as well. Now, there's a lot of details in it. some of which juicy, like how Andrew lobbied the Clinton administration to appoint his father, Mario, to the Supreme Court, and how Cuomo alienated supposedly many of the top New York politicians, including Senators Gillibrand and Schumer, as well as Attorney General Schneiderman. From the governor you know to the governor that's portrayed in this book here, does the author get it right? A lot of this is unsourced. What's your sense?
I haven't read the book. I was interviewed by Mr. Schneerson about Andrew's early work in Westchester County, which is something that got him started.
I saw you in the index, by the way.
Oh, am I in the index? I got to go buy it now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to judge the book. Andrew is a much simpler but harder to write about figure than his father.
Extremely cold and calculating from the description from those behind the scenes who have...
Is that bad?
It's not that it's bad, but Dominic, that he has no intention to create any allies that have any long-term relevance to him. Forget the personal friends, that's personal life, okay? But, and they say there's very few of them, but in terms of, there's no, I'm going to build a party here within the state or any of this. It's all about number one. We kind of knew that, but I've been going through more of this. If he's got it right, this permeates everything, and that he'd rather eviscerate an enemy than try and work an ally.
Well, like Mr. Brodsky,
I want to hear this.
like Mr. Brodsky, I have not read the book, in fairness. But from what's been reported, the allegations thus far, they appear to be dead on. There's no doubt about it. Andrew Cuomo is a very complicated type individual. All he knows is 1,000 speed ahead, full speed ahead, but at the same time, he's very calculating and he is very cold.
Just one thing, though.
He's very much like Rudy Giuliani, Richard.
It's seen those that, for example, you learn a little bit, like who do you bring to your bachelor party or whatever. Just in that little anecdote, with the exception of the people in his inner circle, I'm talking about worked in the campaigns, worked in his father's campaigns, it was journalists. It wasn't, there's no guys from the legislature, no assembly or state senators or tight buddies with him.
He doesn't rule by persuasion and affection. He rules, in his terms, by fear and strength. Albany used to be called dysfunctional. You may not like what's coming out, but no one says dysfunctional.
No,
anymore.
I think competent.
You don't have to like the guy. You have to judge his performance as governor on whether it helped or hurt the public.
Compared to other governors that you either served under or have worked with in any way, did you count his word as his bond when it came to when you obviously important county in the state, Rockland, you guys had to work in different ways. How was your relationship with Cuomo?
When he wanted something, I could count on it 100%.
That's a great answer. That's a fantastic answer.
I mean, absolutely, no question about it. We finally agreed, and he got what he needed to get. It was fine. It's when you didn't talk and you weren't sure where he's coming, you're not sure. And he can be very persuasive. I mean, on this whole Tappan Zee Bridge thing, we had numerous conversations about very important votes at the Metropolitan Transportation Council and how the funding and what have you. And he was extraordinarily cooperative until he got what he wanted, and then he moved on.
They're yelling at me. I want to get this last one. I got 30 seconds for it. Explain to me why Tom DiNapoli, what has this man done to him? And even arguably the Attorney General.
He does it to everybody.
Yeah.
He does it to
Even
everybody.
fellow Democrats on a statewide ticket.
Don't take it personal. It's business, Tom.
And if he perceives someone as weak, steamroll.
He's also very good when people are doing very badly. He has a compassionate side. Don't tell anybody I said this. That is real. So does his father. But when you're doing well, he'll take you down for the sheer pleasure of taking you down.
All right. There was an item in the budget that's got a little attention. I'm conflicted on it. It includes a tax break for yachts costing more than $230,000.
Ask him why he's conflicted.
Well, yeah, please. God, I wait till I get in a break here. Now, I agree on the surface. This sounds like a giveaway to the rich, okay? But this marina owner says, and I think there's a logic to this, that there's a reason why this exceptions in here will actually help the state economy because right now people avoid paying taxes on yachts. Jet Strong told Defiant Newsday. A lot of people who are in the buying category are buying them and keeping them in Florida, keeping them there in wintertime and bringing them up here in summer. The result is New York dealers losing sales, New York State losing sales tax. Now, contrary to the Weisenheimer to my left here, I get the optics of this are terrible. We're helping out millionaires buying yachts, but on the same end, if they're going to buy them, and you know how Florida works, they're going to keep them down there for 6 months and a day, right? They're going to keep them down in Florida. The state gets no revenue. It gets no business as a result. I kind of understand it.
Well, but they don't keep their boats up here all year long anyway. I mean, I don't quite understand this. And of course, the appearance is just horrible. I mean, here, and same with the film thing. I'm sorry. You know, they're filmed. They make millions of dollars in these things. But why 250,000? Why not 251,000 or 50,000, where most people, you know, if they're going to have a little boat.
By the way, I know right now there's no lifelines coming my way here, so just go ahead.
So
Do
let
your
me
worst.
understand
Yes.
this. You're conflicted, all right?
Yeah.
You're in
Just
the
to
mar-
bother him. Oy vey. Yes, go ahead.
You're in the market for a yacht, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm a landlubber. You.
Look, if this was what they're saying, they would have done it for a year. Test it out. See if you get the increase in revenues because the tax went down, and then reauthorize it if you did. But to do it permanently as they did it is a giveaway.
I apparently sound like the only Republican here at the table here, which I have been accused of.
Well,
But
don't come to me.
you're no help in this next one. But isn't there an argument, Richard, that, for example, property taxes, they become so prohibitive at a certain point that even if there's no doubt you need the revenue to keep up, that it has a negative impact, you're going to drive people
It's
away.
theoretically true, but
And can't
the
that be
right
said
makes
about
that
everything,
argument
though?
about everything.
Right, you can make the same argument about
I
everything.
mean, if you want to cut, if you
So if you continue to tax poor people, it's going to hurt the
By
economy.
the way, I was going to get you a Gilligan hat. It's not happening now here. Don't even come near the boat.
the SS Richard Flynn.
Yeah, exactly. SS RFL Live has sunk before it got out of the marina. So, as I say, moving on. Oh, easy. The man of the people here, Mr. Proletariat. All right. Yes, please. Coming up next here, as I quickly go to a break, the president said that bipartisanship pretty much disappeared when Ted Kennedy left the Senate. Is he right? Well, we'll talk about that after this.